super excited to review this series because it's one of my favorites. It has a little something for everybody. Do you like fantasy? Are you fantasy curious? Do you want to read more but you don't have much time? Do you like quick, easy, fun reads? If you said yes to any of those things, then this is the series for you. The Penric and Desdemona series by Lois McMaster Bujold is a series of novellas that was the Hugo Award winner for Best Series in 2018. Now, generally, I don't recommend novellas by just anybody because I feel like in the past few years, a lot of people have figured out that if you have a series, then you can kind of get people to come back and keep buying your books. And I think that's led to a lot of people unnecessarily writing a series when it should have really been a book. I hate it and I really feel like it's a cash grab and it annoys me, and you'll never find me recommending one of those books to you. However, with Penric and Desdemona, it actually does work as a series and it really works as a novella as well. Each of the books is a self-contained sort of mystery, adventure, thriller story that sees Penric exploring a different part of the world that he lives in. This is a world that Bujold has written about before. It's her five gods world, where there are these gods who take a direct interest in the actions of humanity, and they don't always intervene directly, but they have these human intermediaries through which they take an interest in the world. It's a little bit similar to things that you might have seen in, say, Game of Thrones, for example. So, it's a very common fantasy nomenclature. So you have mother, father, daughter, son, and then the fifth god in this series is called the bastard. And the bastard is the god for outcasts and for vermin and all sorts of things. He's also the god for demons, and that's basically how the magic system in this world works, in that sorcerers are people who are possessed of demons, and it's the demon that does the magic. The sorcerer just guides the demon and controls them from turning into pure chaos and destroying the world. This is a series that I recommend that you read in order of publication because it really does make a lot of sense that way. But even if you hopscotch, do read the first book in the series first, because it really does a good job of explaining who these characters are and what are their motivations and why is it that Penric and his demon care about each other so much and trust each other so much. Bujold is really great at constructing these heroes who are amazing at the things that they do, and she always writes that one scene, where they do something amazing and then the people around them are just like and then they're just like, yeah. Like, even when they do amazing things, they are so fixated on their shortcomings that they're not completely aware of just how awesome they are. I've spoken about the Vorkosigan saga before, the link is up there, and Miles is kind of that character also. Penric, however, is a much more gentle human being, and you see that in the first book where, it's his impulse to help somebody that gets him in trouble, so to speak. And he's such a sweetie, like he's such a special little unicorn, he loves his demon, he loves his mom, he loves his wife, he's got a little baby in the latest book, and he's just so sweet. But he's also clever and he's good at what he does, and you see that, his propensity to care for his fellow man is what drives him, but also it extracts a cost upon him. This series is also super funny, and it finds its humor in very unexpected ways, because this is a man who is possessed by a demon who presents as female. So there's an inherent humor in that, and there are these things that come up and there are these events and incidents where it's laugh out loud funny. There's also a lot of humor in the fact that he's very white, he's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and he's really tall, and he spends his life working and living amongst brown-skinned people, so who've never seen like a white person, and then he just shows up and they're just like, what are you? He's awesome, that's what he is. There are a lot of references to just how pretty he is, and in one of the books he has to rescue these two little girls, and he needs to build trust with them, and the way he does it is that they just spend all their time like braiding his hair, and it's hilarious. Like I said, this is a world that Bujold has explored before, or she set it up before she started writing the series, but because Penric is a sorcerer and his life is one of adventure, and he goes to all these different parts of his world, you get to see what the magic systems are in different parts of the world, and you get to see what the people are like. You know how much I love world building. I will say that this series is not as cheap as some of the novellas that you might find on Amazon or being published as ebooks, and that's because it's written by Lois McMaster Bujold, who is she's a legend, but also, this is a Hugo Award-winning series. But the good news is, like right now, I think there are 8 books in the series, so the first 3 books have been compiled into compendium by the publisher, and you can get that if you'd like to try. And honestly, why wouldn't you want to try? I mean, this has action and adventure, and it has a romance in the later books, and it gets published, like there's one every year or so. And Bujold is one of the few authors that I trust with a series even when it isn't complete, just because she knows how to deliver. So each of the books in this series is complete unto itself. So even if she never comes out with another book in the series, it'll be fine because you do get closure at the end of every book. So you could just read the first book, which is Penric Demon, and that's it. Like I said, I don't think of this as a cash grab. The latest book in the series is called The Physicians of Wilnock, and it came out just earlier this year, and it is about Penric dealing with a pandemic. Now you might think, we're living through a pandemic. Why do I need a book about a pandemic? I mean, that sounds awful, but for one thing, this book ends happily, and I think that's something that we all need to read. But secondly, it's such a great exploration of the emotional as well as physical toll that doctors undergo. And it's structured as a mystery more than anything else. So, you get to really go on a journey with Penric, and it's especially lovely if you have gone through all the other books in the series, so you've seen Penric grow as a human being and then come to this point. So if you're looking for something fun, if you're looking for something adventurous, if you are looking for stories about magic as well as murder and adventure, I can't recommend a series more than this one. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.